blessed in my long career in broadcasting. I started in radio in WRTI here in Philly over 45 years ago. So I've been in broadcasting for a while. And I met Miss Trudy about 5 years ago. I just saw that she was doing something, and I said, I need to go down and introduce myself. So I've been working with her off and on for 5 years. We are currently working on several projects. And I'm the executive producer of her newest project, The Trudy Haynes Show. And Start Now, Live Healthier is one of the offshoots of that. And the sister that spoke earlier, Dr. Kara James, we had tea at their place. It was awesome. The food was fabulous. The holistic information was fabulous. We had special guests. But I'm just going to sit here and do a 15-minute interview with an icon and a legend, Trudy Haynes. They can hear you?
Okay.
Now,
before you begin, I want to thank all of you for getting up this morning. When I got up, saw that weather, hungry, tired, and cold. That's all I could think of. And he said, you have to come. And he must have said the same thing to all of you because you're And I want to congratulate you because I'm a little older than some of you here, and you still made it. So I'd feel very, very badly if I didn't. So thank you for coming. And the most important thing is to thank this young man. Are you the reverend here? You're the pastor. Stand up.
she the boss.
saw him, I said, woo.
She got some spunk.
He was boss. He said, I got to bring my husband up to meet you. So you have a very, very nice edifice here in the building. It's bright, it's welcoming, it's clean cut, and you have some wonderful events going on here. He's been trying to get me up here for a long time. I'm coming back. And not only am I coming back, but you had a wonderful program here today. And I can't tell you how important it was for everyone who spoke to you and gave you some information to take with you. Now, I'm older than some of you, so I'm telling you, pay attention and do what they say do, because your time is coming.
You know, one of the things that it has been a blessing to me, I call myself sometimes, you know, older than dirt. And then I stopped because I started hanging out with Miss Trudy. And they were like, well, wait a minute. I remember her in 1965. And I was like, yeah, she was the first African-American female reporter in America in 1965. But that makes me, you know, I was like 14, 15. I'm like, wait a minute. We celebrated in studio her 91st birthday. It was a fabulous time.
I brought out the champagne. He brought the champagne. I drank it. But anyway, we're very happy to be here, and I'd like you to also thank Jerome because he's been talking it up about this wonderful church. And we're going to get some more people to come in, but what you had here today is so important. I go places and they don't have this kind of concentration on things you need to know. Right. And that's part of our program. So I hope that it was worthwhile for you to come out today. You served a nice little
Continental breakfast. Continental breakfast.
Okay, but it was good, and I understand some more is coming, so don't go
We got lunch.
Don't go away.
So don't leave. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You started in radio at a radio station in Detroit. How did you start there?
Well, first of all, this radio station was owned by two dentists.
Black African-American dentists.
And it became the first radio station north of the Mason-Dixon line.
Owned by black people. First radio station north of the Mason-Dixon line, owned by black people.
And it's still going. It has.
And it's still going on today.
Wow. It was on the outskirts of Detroit, called Inkster, Michigan. I don't know how many of you have been around there, but it was like in the burbs, okay? Way out in the country. And I started there when it was building its station. And it's still now WCHB/WCHD/ It is now an AM and an FM station. Unfortunately, the two founders have deceased, have passed on, but their children and their associates have kept it going. And it's still one of the #1 stations in America.
Now, how did you move from there over to Channel 7 WXYZ in Detroit?
Being nosy.
Well, that hadn't changed in a whole bunch of years.
No, I stayed there 10 years. And so I guess in those days, since it was the only one, I got to know a lot of people, and I was invited to a lot of luncheons. You know how that is. And sitting at one of those luncheons, I heard a man of white color, because we're all color, and he was talking to some other people, and I was at the same table, so he was talking to me too, I guess. Anyway, he was telling them he would have to get someone replacing his weather girl at his station. Now this weather girl was a blonde, blue-eyed, pretty little perky person, right?
They all were back in the day. They all were way back then.
And he was the CEO of a station called WXYZ. And that was also on the outskirts of Detroit, but it was a very big, important, that was an ABC station, ABC owned. And so when he told them that he needed to replace her because she was getting married and she was going to leave, I called him later. Now, at that time, I had been working at my station, at the radio station, for about 9 years. And so he knew me because I was sitting at his table. When I called him, his name was John Pivel. And I called Mr. Pivel and I told him that I had overheard the conversation and he needed someone. And he said, "Oh yes, Trudy, you have someone that you want to recommend?" I said, "Yes, I do, me." And that's how it started. There's no point in going into all of that, but I do want to tell you that he was ahead of his time because he was the first one to hire a black person to be on his radio, on his television. And as I said, this was ABC, CBS, NBC.
1963.
And so, by his hiring me, I have to give him credit for being a white man who had a vision. But I did go to work for them, and we don't want to go into the whole tale because I know there are a lot of you who are sitting here who also been the first wherever you go. And you can always consider yourself wherever you go being first because you are against everything else around you. And if you think it only comes from white people, it comes from black people or people of color. So always consider you as the first and important. So keep that in mind, whatever you do. You are the first, and you are just as important who's sitting next to you.
When Miss Trudy told me that story, I reflected back on my own career, and there were two very influential white people that said, "Oh yeah, we'll give you a shot." And opportunity is something that knocks more often than you know. You just gotta pay attention. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get it right back to you. You just gotta pay attention. So then, how did you end up coming to Philadelphia from Detroit?
Well, Detroit worked very well. Listen, I even knew Hoffa. Ever hear of Hoffa?
Jimmy Hoffa. She knows where he's buried.
About 2 years later, in 1965, the early part of 1965, I got a telephone call at this same station, WXYZ, and when I picked it up, they said, "Are you Trudy Haynes?" I said, "Yes." He said, "We've been watching you." Something like we get today, huh? But anyway, they explained that they were from Philadelphia. The CEO, or the program director rather, of KYW here in Philadelphia. They had been watching me because I was the only one on the TV that was doing it. So he said, "We'd like you to come down for an interview and see if you like us and if you would stay. We're thinking about hiring you." Well, in those days, let's face it, anyone said that to you, you think you're getting a Hollywood contract, right? It's just like walking out in the street and someone says, "I want you, I need you for something in Hollywood. So it was a great experience for me to even hear that someone was watching me. But anyway, I did come back to Philadelphia and I did get hired, and that was in 1965. And they hired me at the top as a reporter for that station. And that's where I stayed for 30 years.
I recently, I've been traveling with Miss Trudy now for a number of years, and we were in Washington, D.C., where she was honored at a Columbia School of Broadcasting dinner, but we also stopped by her alma mater, Howard University, and HBCU, HU. And a funny thing happened. We were at the alumni office and she was buying a brick. They have these brick programs. And the president of the Alumni Association, we met him. And he said, "Oh, did you graduate from the School of Communications?" And her response was,
I forgot.
they didn't have one when she graduated in 1947. She graduated from Howard University in 1947. They did not have a School of Communication there. We laughed. He was trying to find the dean, but the dean had already left for vacation because it was right before Christmas break. But she's an HBCU graduate, born in New York City at Bellevue Hospital, raised in Harlem. And one of the things that we're working on is teas. We had a tea at Dr. James Institution. We had a tea there back in December. It was awesome. If you get a chance to go up there for the tea, it is fabulous. Holistic, they have all kinds of holistic health and everything up there. We had a wonderful time. But we're doing Tea with Trudy. Tell us about Tea with Trudy.
Oh, I have fun. Tea with Trudy was just an idea of mine to become more acquainted with our audience. And so we'd like you to come by. I don't know what I'm supposed to be talking about myself.
Oh, come on. You the reason that people are here.
Okay. Anyway, it really is tea, like, you know, the old days when they used to hold it.
The high tea.
But it's real tea, and the gentleman who is the owner of Holistic Tea and Cafe, he knows more about tea than the Chinese. He's a professor in the, what would you call that? Oh, before I go any further, stand up. Vonda and Shemaya, they're part of our team, and I'd like you to know. And then, and the young, are you going to? Okay, all right. And then this young man here with the funny hairdo. I love it. I love it. I used to be afraid of a hairdo. Hey, stand up, Shorty. We call him Shorty. Stand up. His name is Earl Shorty. Really, Shorty is his last name. And I say funny hairdo because a couple of years ago, this reminds me of the what do they call it when they all went natural? Afros. It reminded me of the afros, and you know how other people took to the afro. But he has gall and nerve to keep it. And I'm very proud of him because every place he goes, he wears it with pride. And that's what's important. He's first. And he thinks he's first. That's what's important. Thinking about yourself. And anything I say to him, he says, I'm the man. So that's what I want you to feel too. It doesn't matter what age. But anyway, back to the tea. Stand. Oh, who's there?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good, good. I'd like to personally thank you because I attended many years ago. My parents saw the need and the desire and the interest to have women of color be women of color and to carry that with pride. So they enrolled me in the Trudy Haynes School of Charm. And I want to personally thank you because as a result of that and what you taught me, I am trying to pass that on, not only to my children and my grandchildren, but I participate now in a program at the Salvation Army with young women that we are teaching how to be the best that
What's
you
your name,
can.
Laura?
Denise Carter Green.
Denise is here, part of your
Yes,
congregation,
I'm-
and she's teaching other young people, other young women and men how to be young men. And don't forget the men,
The men as well.
the men.
So I just wanted to say thank you.
And I want to congratulate you because the men who've been up here today, I haven't met them all yet. I like men. The police officers that are over here, gentlemen, would you stand up? Come on, wave here. What's your team? You know, when all this stuff was going on about being harassed and things like that, we have fine young men, don't we? We have some great young men. And I see some of them in the office. And in the audience here with little gray hair, my husband has a little gray hair too, but he's a man. And that's what's important. He's a great man.
Amen.
And so we're very happy that you're here and very grateful that you came out. I got one that's sitting at the table where I was sitting. And this one right here next to me, and there's one back there. We thank all of you for being here and protecting us because we need you. Now back to the tea. Back to the tea. The tea is some place that you can come, network, meet our team. We meet you, we have conversations. We have lovely people who come in and talk to us. I had Sherry,
Karen James, Dr. James.
Dr. James, yes, who was here today. That's where I met her. Sherry Gregg from KYW Radio. We have people like that to come in and talk to you, and you can touch them. They're for real, and we're for real. So we want you to come to the tea, and if your pastor will let us, we'll send you a blanket invitation. Okay, so we haven't started up for this year yet, but we will, and we'd like to see all of you there, okay? But the tea is that opportunity for us to get close to you, you to us, and to meet people up front and personal.
You know, she did an interview back in November with Suzanne Roberts. Suzanne Roberts is the wife of Ralph Roberts. Ralph Roberts is my father. My father's name was Ralph Roberts, but he didn't form Comcast. Ralph Roberts did form Comcast. He's deceased. She did an interview on Suzanne Roberts' TV show. And the other person that was a co-host on the show was Marsha Rose. Now, Marsha Rose was one of the first white women to be in that position on television as a reporter. And Suzanne Roberts asked Marsha Rose about her experience. And Marsha Rose says, I didn't have half the trouble that Miss Trudy went through. Because I think Marsha Rose came in like 64 and Miss Trudy came in 65. What experience stands out in your mind in the 30 some odd years you were on KYW?
It's a long story. But I'm here.
We got time.
No, we don't have that. These people want to eat, huh?
They love listening.
When you say, excuse me, the thing about it is I don't really like to talk about my experiences because I know too many of us, and particularly the men, who've had the same, similar, or worse in experience in becoming who they are and what they do. Every morning we wake up, we're a color that stands out, and we have to brace ourselves for opposition. Someone who was up here this morning that said, I think it was the gentleman, who said we're constantly in a era, in a period of opposition. And it's not being made any better for us by who's leading this country today. So even if we had leveled off to a plateau where we could start progressing faster, it had been stopped, and they put up another wall for us to fight. So we have to come out strong every single morning. We don't know what we're going to face from someone on the street, someone we don't know, we've never had contact with. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have to brace ourselves, and the only way we can do that is from inside with God. And that's the only way that we can prepare ourselves. Yes, sir. But there is one thing that I have always stressed that is our helper, our support, and that is education. if you don't stress that with everyone that you know so that they can read the fine print. Everything we've learned here today has something to do with fine print that we don't pay attention to. Education, somehow we've got to get our youth to understand how important it is. I don't care where they get it from, but take it and reserve it and keep it with you always. That education is the only way and the best way that we can fight what is in front of us. God will help us, but we need to do something ourselves. And that is, He put it in front of us, take it. Don't say, I don't need that. Everything I've learned, I didn't have anything to learn to get into this business. I didn't have anyone to imitate when I got in this business. I was out there alone. And my boyfriend at that time said, Trudy, if you're going to do this, go out to the airport and learn the classifications and the names of doing weather. I was following a blonde, blue-eyed girl who would go up to the, we didn't even have classes in doing the weather. She had to learn it, so I had to learn it. She left, and here I was with this big board to tell weather. The only way I knew how to do that was by my toe and my finger. If it hurt, it was going to rain. That's what Grandma told me. It's going to rain today. All right, that was not good enough for the television. What he did for me, this was a man, and that's why I said, we got some good men. He told me to go out to the airport and learn the terminology for detecting the weather, which I did. Then he told me, go to the library and get a book, a primer, on geography. So that education came right back smack, even though I was a Howard graduate, to keep learning, keep reading, keep finding out what's going on in the fine print. And the other thing that you can do to help us as a group, get together with your, wherever you live, what do you call the first people that meet? Your block captains. That's the way you get knowledge about what's going on in your city. Go to those meetings and support your block captains, because all of this political stuff starts right there in the basement. I can't tell you how important that is. And I have covered city council for years. And it starts right there with your block captain of you knowing what the hell is going on. You can't find out when it's up here and they voted it in or out. You gotta start down there when you have a voice and you can vote and say what is going to happen in your community. Please, that is so important.
One of the, one of the things, I got this. One of the things that we're doing with Miss Trudy is a tour. Now the tour has two elements. One is the drop the mic tour. I wouldn't dare drop this mic because they'd have a fit. But the drop the mic tour is where we're going around and having Miss Trudy interview people that she has interviewed in the past, perchance like Diana Ross or somebody like that. We're also doing where people that are new, people that she hasn't interviewed. We have a tea coming up in New York where she's going to be interviewing Danny Glover, and if all goes well, we're going to be interviewing Denzel Washington. Now that's the Drop the Mic tour. We also have the Pass the Mic tour, where what we're doing is we're bringing in young people to encourage them in the field of journalism. She's a journalist. She's a working journalist today at 91. She was recently honored in Washington, D.C. by Congressman Dwight Evans. It's on Facebook. Tell us a little bit about that.
These people want to finish now.
Oh, they're right.
Well, which one are we talking about?
Dwight Evans.
Oh, you know who Dwight Evans is.
He's a congressman right here.
Right here for our city, our state in Washington, D.C. He's a fine young man. And the interview was a sit down in his office
In Washington.
in Washington, D.C., and we talked about his vision for what is in front of us for the coming year. Or now it's already 2018, and I think they can look it up if they're interested. Again, it comes to knowing and the education. I can't stress that enough, how important that is, but not so much you. You're here, and you've seen things by experience. But the young people haven't seen them, and you can help them. If you're informed, then you can give them the right answers. So that's why I'm saying, read your newspapers, look at television, yes, but look at all the news stations, not just the funny ones, not just the serial and the comedy, but look at least news, and then follow it up. Talk to each other about news, about politics, because everything we do is affected by those people in city council, in the state, and in Washington. And you want to know who they are, what they do, and how you can be heard. That one vote does count. And it's yours. And yours is just as important as mine, or his, or anyone else's.
I want to thank Miss Trudy for coming out. This has been a pleasure. I've been trying to get her out here for a year. If you are a Comcast subscriber, the TV show comes on Wednesday night on Channel 66 on Comcast, Wednesday night at 7:30, the Trudy Haynes Show. And it's also available online, Miss Trudy TV. So please check it out. Go to Facebook, it's on Facebook. The last 12 or so shows that I produced are available online, so you can go check them out. And I want to give a thank you to my dear, dear compatriot in this field of journalism. I want to thank you, Miss Trudy, for coming out to Nazarene Baptist Church of Nicetown and being our special guest on this Martin Luther King Day celebration.
We'll have Jordan and Talia up next reading an excerpt from the Martin Luther King Day Junior speech. And immediately following that, we'll have Inspector Washington.
Years ago, the great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This monumentous decree came as a great beacon of hope to millions of slaves who had been seared in the flames of living injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to the end of the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the colored America is still not free. 100 years later, the life of a colored American is still separated by the manacle of segregation and the chains of discrimination. This note is a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white, will be guaranteed the inalienable rights